Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Jamf Breakfast Club. I'm Mike Lawrence, and I'm super excited about the
Oh,
topic.
look at that.
What's
Looks like
happening?
you've been interrupted, Mike. You
Oh,
have a
what?
breakfast club without coffee. This is serious.
How could we even attempt a breakfast club without coffee? I mean, my mistake. I'm so
Right?
sorry. I'm so glad that you were here with that alert, however, Amber.
I know. Joking aside, what we're doing here is showing you the power of digital signage and how it can deliver timely messaging that can impact safety during emergencies. An emergency such as no coffee. This is terrible.
Clearly an emergency. And so glad that you, Amber Ward from Carousel, could join us to show us the power of that. And I'm also glad that we've got Nick Morawiecki here. He's one of my fellow Jamfs, and he works with partners like Carousel. Nick, do you want to jump in and tell us a little bit more?
Hello, my friends. Yes, thanks so much for having me today. I see Amber is already showing us how we can really grab people's attention with the power of our two solutions combined.
Yep. And in addition to creating awareness around emergencies, one's much more important than being all out of coffee. It can also be used to improve student wellness, campus safety, and create a positive impact on academic success. Now, a while back, we were all on a call together, and we were in a call, maybe not with you guys, but some of your team members, and we were talking about reducing anxiety in children during a crisis. And the question that came up was, how can we help? And so we went away and we did some brainstorming, and in steps Ashley. So we don't know the social and emotional needs of students in school. We are not the experts on that, so we had to bring somebody in. And we met Ashley. So we teamed up with her, and she was able to help us understand the social emotional needs of students in school. And then we turned that information into content. So Ashley, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm Ashley Northrup. I'm a nationally certified school psychologist, and I've been working in education for about 15 years, from the pre-K to 12th grade settings as a school psychologist. And as a school psych, I'm naturally interested in children's mental health. And an integral part of children's mental health is social emotional learning, or SEL, as we've been talking about. SEL includes teaching skills like managing emotions, self-awareness, how to solve problems, social skills, empathy, and how to have healthy relationships. And just like we teach reading and math in school, we can teach SEL to students. And what we do know about SEL is that students with strong social emotional skills are more resilient. They cope more positively with life challenges and tend to do better than those that lack social emotional skills. We also know that in school settings, just like later in life, having positive social emotional skills is really important because students need to know how to manage their emotions and their behaviors, how to have empathy for others and understand others' perspectives so they can solve conflicts and be better people.
It sounds fantastic, and it's a topic that is near and dear to my heart. As a former educator, this was crucial in the environment I wanted to create as a teacher in my classroom. And as an administrator, the environment and the culture that you want to see propagated at a school site in district-wide. So it's really important that we talk about this, and I'm excited that Jamf can play a role in this. But it begs the question, how does Jamf play a role in this? And how is it that a mobile device management solution that really focuses on protection and management, how can Jamf and Carousel play a role in social emotional learning and those important topics that you just discussed? Nick, I think you got the answer here.
Yes, thanks, Mike. So, folks, if you're new to Carousel Digital Signage, they're a really fantastic example of a Jamf solution partner who has an incredibly valuable integration via the Jamf Marketplace. And for any folks who may not know about the Jamf Marketplace, it's really designed to be a central location for Jamf admins to find, learn about, and use valuable tools that integrate and extend the Jamf platform. So using Carousel alongside Jamf is really the perfect solution for deploying digital signage in conference rooms, classrooms, entryways, common areas. It's pretty incredible. So really students and teachers can really effortlessly share, collaborate, and inform any type of audience. And educational staff can really easily bring communication to teachers and students quickly in the event of an emergency. So today, we are so happy to be joined by our friends Amber Ward, Marketing Director at Carousel Digital Signage, and of course, Ashley Northrup, Nationally Certified School Psychologist.
That's super cool. And it's exciting that, Jamf manages all those devices that have an Apple on the back, including Apple TVs. So it's not just for watching Ted Lasso, although I highly recommend it. You can use Apple TVs to do everything that Nick, you just described and really help create that culture. It's one of the tools, one of many tools that educators have to really create that positive culture and to help teach social emotional learning. So towards that end, our topic today is top 5 ways digital signage reinforces student safety and well-being. And ultimately, we find that we are better together with Jamf, Carousel, and Apple to help support our students and have them excel. So we've got a quick little video that we'll dive into here, and it gives you a sense of where we're going to go.
What if your students were set up for success from the start of the school day? Give students the tools needed to be calm in a crisis, the knowledge needed to be ready in a crisis, the services needed for recovery. What if your students were set up for success from the start of the school day? They can be. Enhance social and emotional learning throughout your school with digital signage and increase student resiliency with the help of visual communications. Continue the conversation with Carousel today to create a better tomorrow.
A safe and secure environment isn't just about reducing the threat of physical harm or about safety threats or about a physical school environment. It's also about being proactive about psychological safety. And psychological safety includes students' well-being and the school climate. We want to create a positive school climate because that helps students feel safe and it helps prevent crises by increasing positive relationships and reducing behavior problems. And we can help create a safe and secure and positive school climate by teaching SEL, like I mentioned earlier. Through this, we increase school connectedness, we increase mental health awareness, we provide supports, and all of this combined helps create that safe environment for students. And when we think about school safety, students with strong social and emotional skills are going to fare better in a crisis because they're more resilient and they bounce back easier than those with low resiliency. Also, students with strong social emotional skills tend to be more attached to school, more motivated to learn, and have less antisocial and violent behavior.
That's absolutely true. One of the things I found as a teacher that really carried me through is connecting with students makes so much of a difference. When you find out what really makes them tick and really how they learn, that's when you can be an even more effective teacher. And ultimately, your goal is to make sure that they learn how they learn, and that helps them be more resilient. It helps give them reasons to come to school each day and get excited about it. So this particularly resonates with me because when you create those kinds of resilient students that can respond to those situations, you're creating a better learner, you're creating a better human that's going to eventually go out and join society in amazing ways. Amber, you had some other thoughts on that as well, I think.
Yeah, well, people are probably wondering, well, how does digital signage play into this, right? So as we've been working with Ashley, we started learning a little bit more about social emotional learning. Digital signage is a visual communication tool that can help you reinforce the processes and procedures around the processes and procedures that you've already got in place, right? So teaching resilience, crisis situations, and crisis recovery. Schools already have programs in place to help students. Sometimes you're teaching them in class, or you're giving pieces of paper to go home and learn at home. But you can use digital signage to reinforce those things. So when we talk about teaching resilience, we're talking about getting in front of the problem, right, Ashley? Like this is giving kids the tools, giving students the tools needed to be calm in a crisis. So whether it's breathing exercises or yoga, or Ashley, can you think of one off the top of your head? Mindfulness, right. These are things you can reinforce around the school, remind students, right? Like they may have learned it in class, but when they're out in the hallways, or they're, in a study room or things like that, you can put these things in place across the school so that students are being reminded. And then crisis situations, obviously, we all need to know what to do in case of emergencies. And then crisis recovery are things like, sharing counselor information and be sure that students have what they need at their fingertips to be able to recover. It can also help support student safety and foster a positive learning environment. It reinforces social emotional well-being, which we just said, and streamlines institutional notifications and instructions, and keeps everybody on campus connected.
Well, and I love the idea that it could be used as a way to celebrate students too. Like, hey, this
Sure.
team won CIF, or our debate team just came back with a trophy, or my daughter's involved in Color Guard and Winter Guard, and they just keep going to competitions. And so seeing celebrations like that,
for sure.
seeing announcements, hey, you done good kind of announcements again, helps build up that culture of positivity, of celebration, and really, encouraging the student community to band together. And we have guests.
Yeah, well, and it inspires others, right? So one student sees what another student's doing and maybe inspires them to do that as well.
And I always love visiting a campus and seeing that they celebrate great things that the students are doing. So it's just another way to do that when guests are visiting, or other folks from other schools or parents. There's all sorts of benefits that you get from that through those institutional notifications and instructions.
All right, so earlier in the presentation, I interrupted Mike with an important coffee emergency, and you guys can do that too. By interrupting airplay sessions, digital signage like Carousel can deliver timely messaging that can impact safety during emergencies. Our Better Together story is unique, and then you can seamlessly switch between digital signage content and airplay interrupt, which is very important. Getting information to people right at the right time that you need them to see it.
So Amber, I understand that you and Ashley together have actually put together some amazing resources that you've made available for Carousel and Jamf customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I think when we started this project with Ashley, I thought maybe we'd have a few templates available for our customers to use, but it turned into something much bigger. We have a booklet where we've broken down the stages. Help me out here, Ashley. We've got teaching resilience, crisis recovery, and
connectedness.
So we've got teaching resilience, crisis response planning, right? Emergency situations, and crisis recovery. So the booklet goes through each of the stages and breaks them down, talks about each one individually, and then talks about how you can use digital signage within each of those stages to help students and staff on campus, making sure everyone is safe and informed. And then we did do a series of templates that are available to Carousel users, but they can also be used as inspiration for others to create their own templates. So just because they're specific to Carousel does not mean others can't utilize them in certain ways.
And you made that available recently, right? This is not, something that's been up for very long. So we want to spread the word and make sure that folks make the
Right.
maximum advantage of it. You've got a
Exactly.
website for that, right? We're going to put the website up to make
Yep.
sure that folks can go find that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So you noticed that the title of our session was the top 5 ways to use digital signage to reinforce student safety and well-being. But you may be wondering, what are the top 5, Mike? So here's the top 5. We covered all of these, but just for these of you taking notes at home, it's teaching resilience, it's crisis planning, dealing with emergency situations, crisis recovery, and lastly, streamlining institutional notifications. Those are your top 5 ways. So thank you all for coming for this episode, and we really appreciate you being here.
I wanted to also mention, Mike, just those top 5 are outlined in our booklet resource as well. And the idea behind our booklet is also to enhance what you already have, right? I want to be very clear that everybody already has processes and procedures in place for social and emotional learning. We are not the expert in that, but we do know digital signage, and we do know how you can share messages to be sure everybody is connected.
Absolutely. And all of this just overlays the outstanding professionals like Ashley that are in schools and in districts, and the teachers and the staff and the administrators, all of these caring adults that are there. This is an extra piece to add to that puzzle, an extra overlay to support all student health and wellness and safety.
Right. Because it's never just one piece. There are so many pieces to that puzzle, and bringing them all together just helps amplify that.
That's fantastic. And Nick, can you take us through how folks could engage and utilize these resources?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. So as we've outlined today, Jamf and Carousel, really work together to provide this powerful experience for students, teachers, and technology admins. Jamf streamlines the deployment process and the setup process of the Apple TV and the Carousel app on that Apple TV. Well, Carousel provides those tools that we walk through that really ensure that content is always current and relevant and made for that intended audience in that intended situation. So we are truly better together. And to learn more, you can visit the Carousel Jamf marketplace listing, and we'll make sure that that's outlined. And we'll be sure to connect you with the appropriate teams to dive a little deeper.
I love it. This is one of the things I love about Jamf, is that we become the connective tissue to support schools to empower student success, whether it be, the littles, the K3s, or all the way up to high school and even universities. We have Jamf and Carousel being a great team in all those different institutions to really help students succeed wherever they may find themselves. So I'm thrilled that we were able to have this conversation. Like we said at the beginning, it's crucial to make sure that our students are the healthiest and safest as they possibly can be in our school environments when we take good care of them there. I want to thank Ashley and Amber and my friend Nick for joining us for this special episode of Jamf Breakfast Club, and encourage you all to share any questions that you may have. We're actually here on camera, but we're also live in chat. It's the magic of the Jamf Breakfast Club that allows us to respond to your questions while you're still watching the webinar. So we'll stick around for a few minutes once this is over to answer any of those questions. But please do share those. And I want to thank everybody for joining us for this episode. Any final thoughts, Amber?
I think I'm good.
Fantastic. Ashley, it was great to have your expertise. Any other thoughts, any advice for folks like me and Amber that are parents out there?
I think just keep social emotional learning at the top of your priorities. It's just as important as academics.
Yeah, I often find myself, rather than saying, hey, how was school today? Or what did you learn? Which are sort of dead end questions. I ask my children, hey, what questions did you ask today? How did you engage? And I find that I have some more substantive conversations with my own children. So yeah, getting engaging and empowering. Nick, if any other vendors are out there watching this presentation and they want to know how they could become better together with Jamf, what would you recommend for them? Is there a place they should go to start that conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you find me on LinkedIn, you can certainly reach out that way. But we do actually have an official form that you as a partner or a technology partner would be able to actually complete. That goes to our team. We can learn more about how we could potentially build something meaningful together and bring to market together. So yeah, definitely we'll make sure to include that as a part of the resources as well.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you all for your time. And thank you all of you that are watching. We hope your questions are awesome and that we're responding swiftly. And we look forward to seeing you at the next Jamf Breakfast Club. And we'll bring coffee, right, Amber?
Yes.
Thank you all. Take care.